Every great legend begins with a single obsession. VeilSide's began not in a garage, but in a kitchen. Hironao Yokomaku was 16 years old when he started his apprenticeship at a luxury French restaurant in Tokyo. For years, he studied the aesthetics of a plate. The discipline of French cuisine taught him something that no engineering school ever could, that the way something looks is inseparable from what it means. Years later, when he began designing body kits, the fluid, asymmetric, immediately arresting lines he drew would trace their origin directly back to a French chef's plating philosophy. But the spark that turned philosophy into purpose came on a Tokyo street. Racing his modified motorcycle one night, Yokomaku was overtaken by an old, completely ordinary-looking Nissan Bluebird. The humiliation was total, and in that moment, a conviction was born. He would build cars that announced their power before they even moved. Cars that made people stop and stare simply by existing. In 1985, Yokomaku opened Yokomaku Racing Service in Chiba, initially focused on drag racing preparation, modifying Nissan L-Series engines and developing turbo applications for serious competitors. 5 years later, in 1990, he formalized the brand under a name that was itself a work of quiet genius. In Japanese, Yoko means side, and Maku means veil. Combined, VeilSide promised to lift the veil on the hidden beauty beneath a car's surface. The name was the manifesto. What followed was not a body kit company. It was a full mechanical research and development operation. While the rest of the industry was bolting fiberglass panels onto standard cars and calling it tuning, Yokomaku was building engines from the inside out. VeilSide became one of the first independent workshops to produce its own stroker kits for Nissan's legendary RB26 engine and Toyota's 2JZ engine. Custom steel crankshafts, forged pistons, and Conrod assemblies machined to survive beyond 9,000 revolutions per minute and over 1,000 horsepower. When standard gearboxes disintegrated under that kind of power, VeilSide built their own dogbox sequential transmissions, 4-disc carbon metallic clutch systems, and titanium exhausts they called teardrop, shaped to optimize gas flow with the same attention to form that Yokomaku had once given to a plate of food. The results spoke with numbers. A VeilSide prepared R32 Nissan Skyline GTR covered 0 to 300 kilometers per hour in 13.72 seconds, destroying Japanese drag records. A BNR 33 GTR reached a verified 346.2 kilometers per hour at the Yatabe test circuit. These were not showroom claims. They were timed, documented, and witnessed. And behind those numbers was one of the most extraordinary aerodynamic testing programs in automotive history. Wind tunnel time cost millions. VeilSide had a different solution. Yokomaku and his team took prototype body panels to the Bayshore Highway in Tokyo at midnight, attached them to cars, and drove at 300 kilometers per hour. If the bumper survived the wind load without separating from the car and disappearing beneath the wheels, the aerodynamic test was passed. Feedback came from the Midnight Club, the legendary nocturnal street racing fraternity of Tokyo's Wangan Expressway, whose members pushed the prototypes to their limits and reported back what they felt. It was reckless. It was illegal. And it produced some of the most aerodynamically honest body panels ever put on a Japanese car. While competitors were still working with cheap, brittle fiberglass, VeilSide pioneered high-pressure injection-molded polyurethane construction panels that flexed under wind load at over 200 kilometers per hour rather than shattering, and that returned to their original shape after scraping a curb. On track-focused builds, they used dry carbon fiber, impossibly light, structurally immense, and at the time, almost exclusively found in Formula One. This combination of mechanical credibility and design obsession began to dominate Tokyo Auto Salon, Japan's most prestigious and brutal aftermarket stage. In 1991, VeilSide took the grand prize in the tuned car category with their E2 kit for the R32 GTR. It was an early warning. The explosion came in 1994. The combat body kit for the Toyota Supra Mk4 was unveiled at the show and immediately redefined what a body kit could be. Where the stock Supra's lines were smooth and rounded, the Combat was angular, aggressive, and completely alien, the silhouette of a fighter jet forced onto a road car. But the engineering beneath the drama was just as significant. The enormous openings in the front bumper were not random expressions of aggression. They were precisely calculated aerodynamic ducts, routing 40% of incoming air to the intercooler, 30% to the radiator, and 30% to the front brake discs. Form and function were the same object. The Combat Kit won the show's highest honor. The following year, Japan's Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism granted VeilSide official certification as a registered manufacturer, the first time an aftermarket aerodynamics company had achieved this distinction. In the same era, the founder of Option Video magazine, Daijiro Inada, confronted Yokomaku on camera with a challenge that would have silenced a lesser man. "You just dress cars in pretty plastic." Inada said, "Is your car actually fast?" Yokomaku took his own R32 GTR to Yatabe, set the 300 km/h record on the circuit, and came back. He said nothing. He didn't need to. VeilSide might have remained Japan's best-kept secret had it not been for a video game designer with an unusual vision of authenticity. Kazunori Yamauchi, creator of Gran Turismo, visited Yokomaku at Tsukuba Circuit while developing the first game in the series. He wanted real Japanese street culture, not a sanitized approximation of it. Yokomaku, uncertain of where video games were headed but trusting Yamauchi's conviction, donated the full three-dimensional CAD data for every VeilSide design free of charge. The result was that millions of children around the world spent their evenings racing cars, wearing VeilSide kits, absorbing the brand's visual language before they were old enough to drive. The logo was embedded in a generation's automotive consciousness before most of them had ever seen one in real life. The Fast and Furious franchise carried VeilSide from cult status to global phenomenon, but the story behind those cars is far stranger than the films themselves. The pink Honda S2K, driven by Suki in Fast 2 Furious, wearing a VeilSide Millennium kit and one of the most recognizable liveries in the franchise, was not built from scratch. It was the same car Johnny Tran drove in the original film, painted jet black and menacing. Budget constraints between productions led the studio to simply repaint it pink. Han's orange-black Mazda RX-7, the most visually iconic car in Tokyo Drift, was not originally designed for the film at all. VeilSide had built the Fortune Bodykit for the 2005 Tokyo Auto Salon, but the company was on the edge of financial collapse at the time. The prototype sat at the show, admired but unsold, until a Universal Pictures location scout saw it and bought it on the spot for cash. That single transaction kept VeilSide alive. The production team repainted the car from red to orange-black so it would register clearly in nighttime shooting conditions. The stunt doubles built from it were so heavy with safety equipment that the crew had to apply chemical lubricant to the rear tires just to make them drift convincingly. In the same film, the navy orange Nissan Silvia S15, the car Sean Boswell destroys on his first drift attempt, which many in the modifying world call the Mona Lisa of tuner cinema, wore a full VeilSide executive sport kit. Yokomaku had prepared and shipped that car personally. Watching his work destroyed in seconds on set, he walked off in fury. Universal executives spent the following evening at a luxury dinner, accompanied by gifts, attempting to restore diplomatic relations. The climactic mountain race, in which Takashi's gray-black VeilSide version 3 Nissan 350Z goes over a cliff, was not computer-generated. The stunt driver lost control. The car went over the edge. When Yokomaku saw the wreckage photographs, he wept. When he later learned that the roll cage and body panels had held the structure so completely that the driver had not suffered a single injury, he found a different kind of pride in what he had built. Han's actor, Sung Kang, remained close to Yokomaku long after the franchise moved on. Sitting in a Tokyo restaurant one evening, Kang mentioned a dream, a classic Datsun 240Z, built properly in the spirit of Han. Yokomaku picked up a paper napkin and sketched a wide-body kit for the 240Z on the spot. That napkin sketch became the Fugu Z project, a car that would later appear at SEMA, command the attention of the global automotive press, and eventually be incorporated into Gran Turismo. The late 2000s were unkind to excess. The global financial crisis arrived, minimalist modification culture grew in influence, and the era of extreme wide-body kits began to feel dated to a new generation of buyers. To survive, Yokomaku launched Premier 4509, a sub-brand focused on exotic European cars, modifying Bentleys and Lamborghinis for a wealthier, quieter clientele. The response from his original audience was immediate and unforgiving. The community that had grown up on GTRs and Supras saw it as a betrayal, the soul of JDM culture sold to European money. Old friends distanced themselves. Loyal customers moved on. Yokomaku entered nearly a decade of near silence, sustained by work that kept the lights on but no longer carried the weight of legend. At the 2022 Tokyo Auto Salon, VeilSide returned with the VSF Ninty R kit for the Toyota GR Supra, a design that acknowledged the modern era without abandoning the visual language that had made the brand's name. A year later, the VeilSide FFZ 400 kit for the new Nissan Z took the grand prize, the design DNA of Honda's RX-7 applied to a modern platform with the same structural rigor and the same aerodynamic honesty that had defined VeilSide from the beginning. And perhaps that is the truest measure of a legend. Not the records, not the film credits, not the show trophies, but the fact that somewhere right now, a teenager is staring at a VeilSide kit on a screen and feeling something they cannot explain, a pull toward speed, toward craft, toward the idea that a machine can have a soul. They don't know Yokomaku's name. They don't know about the midnight highway tests or that the brand was revived with an RX-7 kit. But they feel it. And that feeling is what VeilSide actually built.